I just wanted to ask you guys something that might be controversial, might not be. It's not serious, so it's all right if it really doesn't matter. But I absolutely hate Guns N' Roses.
Ooh, I like this.
No, wait, no,
I'm
sorry,
with
wrong
you.
one. Motley Crue.
Okay, I'm not with you on that one. Dude, yeah, no, I got excited for Guns N' Roses. No, dude, the opening to Kickstart My Heart makes me want to fucking punch drywall. I'll fight you on that.
Really? It's so it like
Dude,
resonates with you.
so to be fair, I don't think all Motley Crue hits, right? I understand they have some stuff that doesn't hit. Especially like modern Motley Crue, they gotta hang it up. We've all seen the clips.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've all seen the clips of fat ass Vince Neil. You can't understand a goddamn word he's saying. It's just such a fucking train wreck at this point. Hang it up. But I will say, like, man, if you want to fucking party and if you want to put on party music, of the rock or metal genres, Motley Crue's a must, dude. You gotta have it.
Yeah, I will agree with you on the lead singer now. He sounds like a fucking chicken.
Yeah.
That's what he sounds like now.
Must pee,
Exactly.
spectacular. It's fucking train. No, but I assume for the sake of this discussion, we're talking about like prime Motley Crue, like
Yeah.
Yes.
you know,
The recording.
Like
yeah, the good stuff.
right from the studio into the fucking ears of every Generation X person out there. I
Oh, yeah.
absolutely I can't do it anymore. And there's some people that are in my life that that are dear to me that overplay it, I think. And I'm just kind of sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of like the girls, girls, girls. I'm sick of the fucking I don't even know if it's the same song, but it's like, dude, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Is that a guitar? Is
Kickstart
that a
My
fucking
Heart,
dirt
dude.
bike? Yeah, no, thanks.
Every time I start my bike and head out onto the road on my bike, I swear to God, like that's the soundtrack in my head.
Sure.
Kickstart My Heart. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I will agree that it can get overplayed very quickly. But I think if it's sprinkled in, it definitely augments the party you're at.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's
Typically,
interesting.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm so happy.
Now,
that you
Guns
guys
N'
are saying
Roses.
Okay, dude, if we want to talk about Guns N' Roses, get rid of the outline. We're fucking done. Listen, if one more fucking person says that the opening to Sweet Child of Mine is driven by Slash's shitty little arpeggio, I'm going to fucking hang myself. The bass drives that entire intro. As a bass player, for Christ's goddamn sake, will you people please listen to the bass player? He's the only one doing anything. Slash literally wrote that riff because he hated the song and said, "Oh, I'm gonna play something really stupid like this," and everyone fucking nuts over it. I don't know. Fuck Guns N' Roses. Except they gave us fat cornrows Axl Rose. A plus, no notes on fat cornrows having Axl Rose.
Well,
Uh,
I also don't like them, but very much so. I've been seeing a lot of like stuff pop up on TikTok about the dirt and things like that. I'm like, these guys are just assholes. You know what I mean?
Dude, The Dirt was I never watched that. Fuck, that's an old thing now.
Yeah, it's a
That's
little bit
old now.
dated.
Yeah, I never watched it. It was on my list for a long time, and I never did. I like myself a good what's that called? Not a documentary because it's like because it's also an entertainment like movie
Behind the
thing.
music
Like
type thing.
yeah, I
Yeah.
forget what that's called. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. All that like partying 80s like hair metal rock stuff, like I don't know. Like the sex, drugs, and rock and roll era has a serious vibe to it. And I think like not that I'm like a scholar of metal music or anything, but I think it's like just an interesting, unique time in like rock and metal music that like just it's just like because there's local bands in Minneapolis right now that like try to capture that lightning again, and they'll play like 80s metal and they'll wear the leather and the tight pants and the studs and the whole thing. They do the whole outfit. It's just it's just a unique time in rock and metal music. Not that all of it was good, as we've covered. We've gone through two of them that are maybe not that way, but um, yeah, like that's what everyone fantasizes about, right?
Yeah, well,
Banging
Yeah.
chicks and doing drugs and snorting fire ants if you're Aussie and you're a fucking lunatic.
yeah. So that's kind of my question. Is what's the band we're talking about again? Not Guns N' Roses.
Motley
Motley
Crue.
Crue.
Motley Crue. Thank you. Motley Crue. Did they were they getting like partying and all that just for the sake of the rock and roll lifestyle, or was it like what I'm trying to say is, was the example already set before they got big of like, this is what you do as a rock star? You get drunk and you do stupid shit.
I bet it grew. I mean, I bet it grew out of like just musicians being who musicians are. Like they're gonna gravitate towards that type of free living, whatever. I mean, not every single musician, obviously, but I mean, look through the history of I don't know, pick a genre. Shit, we can even go outside of rock and metal, and people are, they get into like heroin or
Mm.
hallucinogens and this and that, and it's this very like free, and if you listen to a lot of them talk, it's very some of them, not all of them, some are just goddamn stupid, but it's all this like cerebral, like, hey man, like society, you listen to like Bob Dylan talk or Tupac talk about
Mm-hmm.
society and how things are and how it's, they don't want to live in this capitalist, whatever it is. um, so I just think it's a musicians gravitate towards it, and it probably grew from, with Zeppelin, they're probably just like smoking weed and taking mushrooms, and then you get to Motley Crue, and everyone's like, "Hey, I bet I could chug this thing of vodka faster than you, and then throw a TV out the fucking window and like snort coke off this girl's fucking ass crack or whatever." you know, I mean, dude, Aerosmith. If you're ever bored, read Steven Tyler's autobiography. First of all, you're going to get like a pharmacology degree because of all the drugs this guy. I didn't. Holy shit! And then, yeah, some of the stories, man, fucking insane, just
Yeah.
wild, But that's why it's fantasized, because most of us, like, I don't think most of us even have the balls to live half that life. I certainly
Right.
don't.
I think most of us would be able to survive that life.
No, dude, the fact that we still have Steven Tyler and Joe Perry is a miracle. I mean, they were called the Toxic Twins for a reason, man. I don't know how they're still around.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned Zeppelin,
Mm.
like reading some of their autobiography stuff, like they would get so fucking just ramped up on cocaine before a show, and then they would just douse it with alcohol after to get to just bring them back down. It's like, how the fuck do you do that every show?
I was always told that mixing uppers and downers was a good idea. I don't know.
Jesus.
Well, dude, so there's a fun fact about, I mean, so Aerosmith, in that time, of course, cocaine was their drug of choice. And one thing that Steven Tyler did that I learned, I'm a huge Aerosmith fan too. Like oh my God. So what Steven Tyler would do is he'd have like a glass, like a pint glass up on stage with a straw coming out of it. And he would, he'd have it like sitting on an amp or like, something somewhere on the stage. So people would think like he's getting something to drink. And what he would do is he'd take like a towel, like between songs, he'd like throw this towel over his head, like he's like, kind of like, oh, I'm so sweaty, whatever. But then he would go and stick the fucking straw up his nose, and it was just a glass of cocaine.
God
Just
damn
fucking
it.
give himself a little something to get through the rest of the set. It's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know, they made
something.
good music out of it. I guess I can't be mad, right? Like,
Yeah.
You got to trust the process, I think, on that one.
yeah, let him cook, chat.
I don't know if I trust that process.
I don't think you could
Dude,
replicate it again.
no, dude, that's the thing. Like, me and Rick drank plenty when we were in a band together. I don't think either of us. I think we made the right choice not doing cocaine. Like, I think
Yeah.
that like we didn't really go any much further than drinking pitchers of beer. So
Yeah.
and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm still
Yeah,
around to talk about it.
yeah, I'm comfortable with that choice, dude. Yeah,
Especially like cocaine in where we're at in Minnesota. I mean, you gotta think, how many times has that been cut down? You know what I mean? What is it mixed with?
yeah.
What are
It's
we
just
doing
Arm
here?
and Hammer at this point.
Yeah,
It's 10 to 1 Arm and Hammer to actual drug.
yeah, yeah. Okay, well, just wanted to get you guys' takes on that. So that was a brief kind of breaking the ice type segment here. But let's
I
get into
liked it.
some of this hard hitting, serious stuff.
Elvis.
Yeah, his uppers were
I hate it. How
prescribed.
do you
So.
feel? Just kidding.
No, so we went to the No Kings protest this past weekend, and we went there, and it was fine, I think, and kind of saw a lot of people, or it was roughly what I think you have it on here, 80,000 roughly.
80,000 was the estimated, just for Minneapolis. Yeah, I think the estimated count that I
St.
saw was
Paul.
80,000. Or,
Yeah,
well, the Twin City. It was the Twin Cities one. Yeah, so
sure.
technically
Okay.
we were in St. Paul, but
So yeah,
correct.
so
Yeah.
that was good. I felt that was a good experience, positive experience. Unfortunately, though, I think in the early hours of Saturday, um,
Mhm.
two Minnesota senators were targeted in a politically motivated, assuming a politically motivated attack, and so Melissa Hortman and her husband, and then Senator John Hoffman and his wife were both targeted, and Hortman and her husband died, unfortunately, due to the wounds. And I believe they just caught the gunman.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
last night as of recording this, like Sunday night. I think
Yeah.
they caught him in Savage, in the city of Savage, which is, I don't know, what, 20 minutes south of me, something like that,
Hmm.
of Minneapolis. So yeah, I mean, I'm just happy they fucking got him.
Yeah. Yeah. And so his getup was, obviously, we all know that he was disguised as a police officer, and then his car had
Mhm.
lights and things like that. But he was also wearing one of those silicone masks
Yeah.
Mm.
that like are very lifelike. And I've always thought to myself that would be a good way to get booze, because of how real they, like, if you're underage and you can wear them and get booze, because they can pass as like that's the real dude.
Oh, yeah, when you
So
do the like full blown like movie quality special effects stuff, that stuff's nuts, man.
yeah, yeah, no. So that's just crazy. I know some people that I am acquainted with on the old Facebook machine shared right away, and they said, "Well, this was due to the fact that those two voted against their party," and then they subsequently said, like, "Yeah, so do your No Kings protest, stir up more violence, cause more frenzy, and blah blah blah." And so I commented on that post and said somewhere along the lines of, "Hey, I was there at the protest. A, first of all, it's a sad story. Like let's not make this it's their fault, whose fault. We don't know anything yet. At that point, we didn't know anything." And but just basically told him, the protest was peaceful. People were there. You got something out of it. And then he jumped. My uncle, actually, and I'm not afraid to call him out because he's an asshole. But my uncle commented and he goes, "All liberals are violent nutbags," or something along those lines. And I didn't even respond to that one because I'm like, all right, his mind's made up. But then the other guy whose poster was just started saying, "So you're telling me there's never been a leftist violence attack? Didn't they
Oh
stage
my God.
January 6th? Didn't they do Minneapolis George Floyd riots and things like that?" And I go,
Jesus.
first of all, they didn't do January 6th, and that's not staging. And if they did stage it, Rick, you said this, why would Trump pardon them? You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't pass the sniff test on that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he went along the lines and kept going. We were going back and forth. I'll spare you. And then some other guy said, "Eric, you're a liar." And that was pretty much his post. And then somebody else commented and said, "We don't know anything yet." I was like, all right, here we go. So what's my question, I guess, out of that would be, what is the motivation behind just blatantly running with a terrible assumption that this was because they voted against their own party, and secondly, now that we know more, that's not the case at all. And I don't know. It was just kind of disturbing that the right would jump to that right away.
It's it's wild. They all seem to have gotten together on that, man. Because what I'm seeing, I was just talking to my wife before we jumped on here to record this. That she's seeing it as well. That a lot of people on the right are. That's the spin. That's the spin they're taking. I think Charlie Kirk even posted about it. So it's all the way up the ladder, dude. Where this was a violent leftist person. Blah blah. Same story. They voted against their party, and that's why. And look, again, on its face, it doesn't pass the sniff test.
No.
The dude had a list of 70. I mean, the governor was on there, Keith Ellison was on there, the attorney general, a giant list. And that's why, certain people, Governor Walz and I think Ilhan Omar were supposed to speak at the No Kings rally, and they were not there because of these threats and because the gunman was still at large when we were
Mm,
doing this, when we were doing the march. And just, I think because I've seen this before, right? I've been in a debate with someone during Trump like 1.0. I remember this vividly, where they specifically said that the right has never rioted. It's always the left that's rioted and caused violence and all this stuff. And look, here's the thing. I I think they have to come to terms with the fact that, look, your president stands up and he's called again, like we joke about it, but he stands up there and calls us scum and subhuman and demons and the enemy within. And then that trickle, I mean, again, everyone in his cabinet, everyone below him, all of the senators, I think Ron DeSantis was saying something about fuck it, hit protesters with your cars. And there's sheriffs saying like, hey, if you do, like, we'll literally just kill you. And for some reason, they don't think that some lunatic is going to be watching Newsmax and see that and go, you know what, Trump, I got you, buddy. I got you. I'll go take care of these in Minnesota. I got you. And
Yeah.
I'm going to take my weapon and I'm going to go and I'm going to, and start shooting.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And
he'll pardon
January
me
6th, the
anyway.
same thing. Right. Right. So it's and the January 6th thing, the fact that they think that was the left, they just cannot accept the fact that there's a bunch of them that rioted and they are unwilling to condemn it because all these people, if they were actual thinkers, and here's the thing is I think there's a cognitive dissonance there where they agree with the people doing this violence, but they don't want to say that they do,
Mm-hmm.
right? They can't condemn these people because they're condemning themselves if they say it. So they got to condemn the left because that's what they can do.
Right.
And I really think that's the thing. But I do think it's absolutely fucking gross for these people on the right, again, going all the way up the ladder to Charlie Kirk and his 850 teeth, saying that this person was a leftist. This person is like verified right wing Trump voter, Trump supporter, the whole thing.
Yep.
Just call it out and then say we don't want violence. If they don't want violence, then stop with the violent rhetoric because the left isn't saying go beat the shit out of MAGA people in the street or anything like that.
Right.
It's Trump saying we're the enemy. We're not saying he's the enemy. We need to go to war, all this heinous shit. Right. It does not pass the test and it's fucking gross. And now the fact that it has resulted in a political assassination and that's not too far for them. It's not too far for anyone on the right to just condemn these attacks and say, look, that's not what we're doing and try to cool the temperature down. Not one of them has tried to cool off anything going on in the United States right now. And we all know shit's getting very hot. The temperature is going up rapidly.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Like
It's
Trump said.
disgusting.
Trump said we're the hottest country right now.
Yeah, I don't think he meant it this way, but god damn it, he's right about it.
So there's a name for this. It's called stochastic terrorism. And it's where, like Zach was saying, the right will keep saying the other side is less than human, some variation thereof. They're scum, they're the enemy within, this and that. And then when one of their followers believes what they're saying and says, well, we got to stop them, and they start fucking murdering people, the people that were saying it, just say, oh, that was just a crazy guy. Or, oh, that was actually on the left. That wasn't actually a one of us. They never take responsibility for it. And then they do it again. And then they restart. And it never fucking ends. And people, the people that they keep coming after keep having to deal with this shit. It's getting obnoxious. And then the same fucking day that they find this guy, Trump puts out a fucking statement with more hate-filled fucking rhetoric in it about all the left is scum and they're evil people and this and that. And it's, again, rinse and repeat over and over again.
Yeah, it's almost like, hey, I know that's sad, but let's not forget that they still suck. And
he didn't even say, I know it's sad. He's just a fucking dickhead. He never said the sad part.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that would be too humane for him. Just thinking about this. So, like the people on the right, and specifically like the people that I was interacting with on Facebook and things like that. It's like, how can you legitimately believe that if it's anything negative about you and it was your people, that it was A, staged, or B, all these protests were violent and like we need to get them off the street? You know what I mean? Like there's just no like reasoning with these people anymore. There's no, and we've said this time and time again, but like legitimately you think January 6th was like, you're not even defending it anymore like you used to. You're just saying it was staged by the Democrats. Like, why would the Democrats stage that? And not to mention their vice president was she at the Capitol at that point? The newly elected one, Kamala? Was she there?
I forget.
Well, either way, enough of their party members and people that agree with their ideals were there. And why run the risk of anybody getting hurt?
But here's the thing. There were prominent people there, okay? There fucking Proud Boy leaders and the Oath Keepers. Like, both of those motherfuckers were there and were convicted in front of a jury of their peers for basically treason. It was sedition.
Yeah.
And then
Which,
they were
by the way,
pardoned. So what the fuck do you mean it was staged? How is that staged? They were there, and then they keep showing up and they keep supporting Trump. So they're not Democrats. What the fuck are you talking about?
no,
Lay
think
it out
it's
for
this,
me.
it's just this deep, deep dissonance in their fucking brain. And the problem is we can never get to it. I haven't found a way. I haven't found a way to talk to these people in person or over whatever, social media or anything, that can get to the root of why the hell they think this.
Yeah.
It's just we're at a point in this country where anyone on the left is like a disgusting, blah, 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 Furman, this, that, whatever. And everyone on the right is like some beautiful, goddamn intellectual thinker or something. I really
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know how we got here in this country. And this is just, I mean, I don't know. I'm absolutely stunned by the fact that this stuff doesn't change people's minds. Seeing January 6th should have changed minds. And I think it did, probably. There were probably some people that went like, okay, this is this is
Yeah.
too fucking like I'm not doing with these people anymore. But to repeatedly see these things and to see with your own eyes the fact that these protests are largely peaceful. Does violence happen? Sure. But when you send cops out into the streets and say, arrest people and like hit them and run them over with your horses and shoot them with rubber bullets which are not supposed to be shot directly at people anyway but just pelt them for fun. Yeah, that's all. The violence so far has been retaliatory against the shitheads that you sent into the street, be it LAPD, the National Guard, whatever. Obviously shit's going to hit the fan. Like, don't swing if you don't want to get swung on. I don't fucking know how else to put this, right?
Yeah.
But we are trying on the left to do this peacefully, which is what we did this weekend, right? So many people did, and still they're not convinced, right? You see all
Yeah.
where's the violence then?
Yeah.
Where's the burning Capitol building in St.
Yeah.
Paul? Where was the
Yep.
damage? I don't fucking see it. Show
Yep.
me, you know? And the thing too is like with something like this, is this just the first in like a bunch of attacks that are going to happen? Are we going to have copycats? Like, I mean, I
Right.
think it was during Trump 1.0. Uh, was it Nancy Pelosi's husband that got hit with a fucking hammer by some
Yeah.
lunatic that broke? Like,
Yeah.
was he a Democrat? Like, are you out of your fucking minds? And I don't know what to do. I'm just, I'm just fucking over it. I do think that us on the, like any of us on the left have to try. I don't want to say control the narrative because we're not really controlling a narrative. We need to just keep yelling the truth. We're going to yell it into a void largely, but like we need to drown out that bullshit and that conspiracy bullshit because I think that's the only way. Like we need to be louder than they are with
Yeah.
ideally the fucking truth. So we gotta, you know, stick to it and tell what happened for real as far as we know. Um, that's I think that's all we can do at this point is just keep trying to yell. I don't I don't have an answer, man. I've never seen shit like this before in all my life. I don't know.
I actually have a story that I just kind of remembered. So this morning I was sitting in a morning meeting at work, and one of the other guys asked me, "So did you go to that protest thing?" I was like, "Yeah, I went." Like, how was it? Did you get any fights? I was like, "No, it was peaceful. Everyone around me was peaceful. There was really no fights." He's like, "What do you think about that guy who murdered those people? You think it was a conspiracy?" And like that set off a fucking just conspiracy after conspiracy with a couple other guys. It's like, oh, it was probably a plant or whatever the hell they were saying. I couldn't keep track of it. Then what was it? I said, you know what, guys, I think it'd be best if we like reserve judgment until we get all the facts and we know what the fuck happened, what his motives were. Like we don't know anything yet. And then this guy, fucking Captain Pigeon, playing chess with me, kicks over the fucking chessboard after shitting on it and goes, "Oh, you mean you want to wait for the media to spin it?"
God.
I just sat there. I'm just like, as opposed to what? Where do you get your information from? Do you go and interview the motherfucker yourself, or do you get it from your fucking media sources, you fucking asshole? But you only listen to the media sources that spin it, that in a way that agrees with your worldview, in a way in which you already think. You're not willing to hear out other sides or hear the objective reality, the truth of the matter. You just want it spun so that it fits your fucking worldview. That just drove me fucking insane. I just like, you know what? I'm going to leave now.
I don't want to get fired.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the thing that blows my mind. There's so many times, and I'm sure you guys have gotten this too, where it doesn't matter the subject. You engage with a group of goddamn knuckle draggers, and they go, "Ugh, stop watching CNN. Ha ha." And I go, all right, man. Like, I don't really use, like, I do use CNN as a source, but I also, like, I use multiple sources for things, right? Like,
Right.
I try to find a consensus and try to whatever. So, yeah, I'll go to CNN. Fine. But I don't take that as, like, the truth because I know they do have a little bit of a spin to their shit and I don't, whatever. But then, like, I've point blank been like, okay, where should I get my news? Where should I go? And they never have an answer. Radio silence.
Yeah.
One person did say, "We'll listen to what Trump said in relative to whatever we were discussing." I go, "Yeah, I went and watched the interview, or the press or thing or whatever it was that we were discussing it." I'm like, "I watched it. I watched what he said, and I think it sucks." End of story. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
what now, bud? Like, I watched it and it's fucking dumb. Not everyone thinks that everything Trump says is good. Like, you're gonna have to start to understand that. So yeah, I mean it's always absolutely stunning, you know. And I do think though there is probably a group of these people that don't use a news source necessarily. Like yeah, they might tangentially, they hit Fox News or Newsmax or whatever it is. But I think a lot of it is spread, or I have a theory, I guess, that a lot of it's spread like kind of organically. One knuckle dragger maybe watches Fox News or listens to InfoWars or some shit. Then he tells all of his knuckle dragger friends. Then those knuckle dragger friends tell his fucking mouth breather friends, and the mouth breathers go and tell someone else. It's a whole thing.
I know for a fact this guy gets a lot of his news from X. Or I'm sorry, Twitter.
Well, yeah, we can dead name Twitter. Yeah, I think that's a lot of people on the right. And of course they follow guess who, right wing creators. Weird.
Yeah.
We had that issue with a relative of mine where and my wife's where it was like, okay, like where are you getting your news first of all? Because you're not getting good news. She goes, "Oh, Facebook." Okay. Let's start there with why that's stupid. Like
Yeah.
because I've seen some insane. Like I recently scrolled past a picture of a frog with fucking eyes in its mouth, and it was clearly AI, and everyone goes, "Oh my god!" It's like, yeah, it's not what it looks like. This is not real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy has Twitter as a shortcut on his work computer. Like
Fuck,
That's
nobody
not
should
allowed.
have that.
browser
Nobody should
screen.
have that.
All right. Well, we're not going to talk about that part, but
We can talk about that off air, so he can go ahead and lose his job.
Yeah, we can throw the book at him. Here's
Well, he
Law
won't
and
be able to
Order, right?
fucking read it.
I just want to say that this, that person's saying, wait till the media to spin it. It's like, yeah, man. And like you said, Rick, it's like, how are they going to spin it so it fits your worldview? Or like even those people that say you watch CNN, it's like, dude, like or I get my news from Facebook. I get this. I go on Twitter, X, whatever. It's like, dude, that is all algorithmic timing for you. Like the guy talking to me, not me. Like I don't see what you see. You see what you see. And that is all because of what you've liked, where the eye tracker is looking, probably at all the cleavage pictures. And that's why you keep getting those on your feed. Like every single thing that
I
is
know from
on your feed
experience.
is formulated for you to not just purchase products, but it's to convince you that some things are true when they're not, or to attach all the information they can to make something, basically like a house of cards, like whatever you're fucking listening to, watching, whatever. That's all going to fall in line with what you believe in. And the second it's not, you unfollow it.
Yep.
The second it puts on a gay pride thing, you mute it for 30 days. You know what I mean? Your favorite sports team, you're a big football guy, and the Vikings put a pride picture up. Fuck that, I'm going to laugh reacted, then I'm going to mute him for 30 days because I saw somebody put that in the comment. I'm like, dude, okay, so that didn't fit your worldview, so you're just going to censor it out. I hate to use the word
Oh,
censor, but you are self-censoring that shit, and that is some shit that nut jobs do. I don't know, like Stalin, like Hitler, like on a bigger fucking platform. They invented. For Christ's sake, Stalin invented Photoshop. You can't get any more fucking censoring than that, man. Jesus Christ, he killed the guy and he fucking edited him out of a fucking photo before Photoshop was even a real thing.
fucking whack. Dude, I saw like it was God, probably a couple of days ago. I get a lot of sim racing content and someone posted a clip and in the clip of course it shows their car, they're racing, whatever. And on the front of the hood, this guy just had a little pride flag on like on the front of the hood, on the front bumper of their car, on the livery in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And someone in the comments just goes like, "Oh, you lost a follower because of that." They said, quote, "tard flag," like retard flag,
Sure, yeah,
um, on the front. And I was like, "Hey, what the fuck?" I was like, "This is that it doesn't hurt you. Like, what is the deal?" You know, of course, he goes into a Trump's getting rid of Pride Month. It's mental health month, and I was like, "Man, they can coexist."
yeah,
Like this whole shoving in your face, and the example I use, I'm like, well, he's like, well, they don't got to shove it in my face. That whole thing, I'm like, yeah, you know, same with like, I was like, how many holidays do veterans really need? God damn, they have so many. And do we really need a month for cancer? Because I don't want people throwing cancer in my face all the time. Jesus, that's so hard. Like, and I kind of went on that thing, and then just kind of went like, look, that's what you sound like. That's the argument you're using.
mm-hmm.
Like, all these other months are valuable to you, but pride exists again because of dickheads like that. I fully believe, like, look, all the pride parades and the pride events, a lot of that stuff would definitely still exist, but I don't know that Pride Month would be like as huge of a thing necessarily if they weren't experiencing all this hate. And honestly, like, if LGBT people were just accepted as human beings, which they should be, like, I don't know, like, I see a world where, like, again, there's plenty of pride stuff and all whatever, the flags, you know, whatever, but like it just would be just so much more in the background. But that would require again that like pretty much everyone would just not care and just kind of be like, yeah, I don't know, gay people sick. That's
Right.
I don't fucking care, you know. Great. So it's just I don't know. I can't live with these people, dude. Like
Them,
I just don't even want to share a chunk of dirt with them anymore. It's so fucking just dumb to me. It's just dumb. Like it's just stupid. I don't it's just purely stupid. Raw
Yep.
stupidity.
yeah, and if they were just okay with like you just said, like, dude, you're the reason why it exists. Like you commenting, you muting, you doing this, you fucking um um I don't know, the John Redcorn guy getting killed, and you going like,
Yeah.
let's see the body cam footage. You know what I mean? Like you can't fucking like it's a hate crime. You dumb fuck. You
Oh yeah.
stupid person. I don't want to like keep going after intelligence, but Jesus Christ, at some point we got to be like, hey man, you know the Bible has two versions for a reason. Like some shit wasn't okay, and some shit's better than the other shit. But like, stop fucking taking the Bible and using that as your everyday fucking whatever. The way you know what I mean? Like, there's more
Yeah.
nuance to life than you know, gays are bad because Jesus said so. It's like, dude, I'm fucking tired of hearing about it. And also, not everyone's a
Right.
Christian. What about those people? What about that? What about
Right.
the Jewish people? You know what I mean?
Dude. Well, even the Bible is like such a hole we could go down because like the misinterpretation and spin that people put on the Bible in order to be hateful is insane. And like I've even seen it. I saw a clip the other day where these people were you know, it's a back and forth between creators and um one of them's a biblical scholar and he goes, hey, like that's not really what this means, and let's put it in context of when the
Mm-hmm.
Bible was written and blah blah blah, and like so basically you're interpreting it wrong. And the guy kind of just the other dude just kind of went like, well, no, that's wrong because I don't want it to be that way.
Yeah.
Like that's it's like, dude, this guy's entire life is devoted to studying the Bible. This guy knows more about the Bible than fucking Jesus Christ himself knows about the Bible, and you're just gonna be like, nah, dude, I can hate gay people with it. It's like, you fucking god damn it.
Yeah. I just want to add to that. Look, you guys, like, you've read that how many times Jesus has said something about washing feet. So
Oh yeah, dude.
either he had
Dude
one
loves
hell
feet.
of a foot fetish, or he was into something else, and they were trying to like, we're just gonna say this.
I like that it's lore that Jesus has a foot fetish. I think that's okay. I think we could do that one.
Not to kink shame.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
we're not kink shaming Jesus Christ, the King of Kings or whatever the fuck. I don't know. He seemed like an all right dude. He just wanted some feet, man. I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah,
His Lamborghinis.
Yeah, yeah, man. He's just fucking keeping him clean and polished, boy. Like it's all good.
alrighty. Speaking of King of Kings, let's talk about our experience at the protest even more in depth here with the second
Let's
topic
do it.
about the No Kings protest. So, Trump had a little birthday party for the army, and it was his little birthday party too. And this could be a fucking nursery rhyme because nobody showed up, nobody wanted to go, and the people that did, I saw a video of a squeaky tank going down the street, and it was just
Yeah.
silent.
That
and
shit, I almost pissed my pants when I saw that. That was the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean, so we've all been there, right? At least I have for sure. I've thrown a party, nobody wanted to go, and some people still showed up, and it was just sad. So I think that's what happened, and we see that in not only his expressions, but Jesus, dude, he was like falling asleep in his chair,
He
watching
didn't
this.
want to be there.
No, nobody
The
wants to see
fucker
the
is
same.
79 years old and he's
Yeah,
up at midnight fucking tweeting scathing reviews of fucking anything that he sees on the fucking news. Like, yeah, that dude needs a fucking nap, bro. Like, come on.
yeah, yeah. But what Trump has done is that he's put himself in this box, and this box can't be fucked with because then he'll start losing supporters. And that box is criticize Biden over everything that a normal 80-year-old man would do, and now he's fucking kissing 80, baby, and he needs a nap at 4 p.m. like any other 80-year-old man
Oh
does.
God, yeah.
And now and it's seemingly, dude, he's wearing catheters, he's fucking shitting himself in court, farting himself awake. Like, dude, we can't keep having this guy be the leader of the free world with this idea that he's this tough, manly man. It's like, no, you're a 79-year-old man, and that's okay, and you're an asshole. That's not okay.
Dude,
Done.
Right.
he wasn't tough at 40, and now he's 80 and even more fucking frail.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
A strong enough wind is gonna fucking end him. Like,
dude, he's already leaning hard. You know,
yeah, if the wind goes the right direction, he's already got yeah, that it's the momentum. It's dude, yeah, I also liked I don't know, we can jump around, I guess. I also liked the did you see when they would announce like, ah, thanks to our sponsor Coinbase or
yeah,
UFC or fucking
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, holy shit. So you got these companies to sponsor your $50 million birthday party that nobody showed up to. Melania did make an appearance and cringed incredibly hard. There's video of that that's pretty funny. She did the
yep.
like smile and then like turn her head and kind of go like, ugh, kind of shit. But it
Apparently,
was
she
pretty
wasn't
good.
paid enough. She was only
Yeah,
paid for a 3-second smile.
yeah, she's like, nope, not doing this. It's fucking insane. Like I just and again, I guarantee I haven't looked, but I know that he's going to talk about crowd sizes. Everyone was there. The media is making me look bad. Blah blah blah. Hundreds of thousands of blah 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 because the crowds at the protests were fucking huge and whatever. And it's like, dude, I don't know. I'm sure there was like, I'm sure the parade route was spread out so the people get spread out. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. But they're like the bleachers aren't packed. And they're
Mm-mm.
not, again, you could hear the tank treads squeaking because nobody's making sound. It's just a bunch of squeaky tanks rolling down the road. And it's like 90 degrees and humid as shit because it had rained all day. And like you said, Trump doesn't even want to be there because it started at like 6:30. He's supposed to be finishing up the early bird special and hitting the hay, man. Like that's he's supposed to be doing old man shit. Have the 4:30 p.m. like I don't know, whatever old people eat. I don't know what they like. And then going to bed. Like
If he doesn't get his 4:30 nap, how the hell is he supposed to get up at midnight for his midnight tweet?
midnight tweet and dump.
I just and I hate to. I didn't really want to bring this up too much about the way the marching and things look because I certainly am not in the military and I hate to criticize them, but you see a good dictatorship, um, and
A
I
good
use
one.
that
Good dictatorship.
I use
Can't
that
even
term
dictate
good
right.
loosely, but like you see like the Russia, the North Koreas, and they got their fucking shit in line, dude. There's no long
Mhm.
spaces between the next fucking thing. Like no offense to the military members, but they look like this was their first dictator march, and because
Well, there's a
I think
reason
it
for that.
was, but like half of them would be looking at Trump, like North Korea, you all have them look at the same time and look away at the same time, which is
Right.
like that's pretty cool. Like humans will do that, I mean, again, not the message, but I'm just trying to say that when I saw the American troops do it, half of them were looking at them, then they didn't know when to look away. Some people didn't look, because I'm assuming out of spite. So I'm like, all right, it looks bad. Like if I'm another country, and this is supposed to be showing the brute force of America, buddy, you failed. You fell short. You know what I mean? That's a C minus. That's a C minus dictator
At
march.
best.
Yeah.
Dude, they looked like they didn't want to be there. Like none of the actual service members looked like they wanted to be there. They're just kind of casually walking. They're not really like a lot of them weren't really in like formation. Maybe they didn't really get time to practice this. I don't know what the lead up to this was like for them, of course, but like I don't know, man. Like you could there was supposed to be like 7,000 service members. You couldn't have like bunched them up a little more and been like, hey guys, let's like keep it tight. Maybe do like, dude, there's more like hype before a goddamn NASCAR race than this was. Cause like with those, like you get a goddamn like flyover with a bunch of jets and like usually some dude parachutes down with a big ass flag and like Star Spangled Banner's playing and you're like, let's fucking race cars in a turn left. Like you get just fucking amped to watch people turn left for 3.5 hours. And this was like, hey, just dudes in green pants like walking down the road. I don't like what the fuck's going on. It looked like a normal like county parade that I would
Yeah.
have had up in fucking St. Cloud growing up. Like I don't get it.
So I've actually heard a couple of different retired like service people comment on this, and there's a hypothesis out there that says that that was their way of quiet protesting.
It was just to be shitty while they're marching.
Just to like march out of out of step with each other and all that, because these people that were looking at the videos were saying that that's like one of the first things you learn is how to march in step, and like you have a guy in the group of people, or a service member in the group of people that is that everyone bases their step off of, and it's really easy to get back into sync if you want to. And so that was something that was an idea that was put out there. I don't know how much weight that holds or whatever, but it was just something to consider.
I think it does make sense. I mean, because like the military's all like in it as it should be. Whatever, it's a lot of yeah, like being very locked in with things like that. I mean, we've all seen videos of the dudes. They do like the weird I don't know what it's for, but they like hand off the rifle and the dude like inspects it and they're all like flipping the shit around and do it. It's like if they can do that, like I know that's a very high level specialized like thing for that group, but like I think you can get a bunch of people to like walk at the same fucking time.
Right.
Like especially like you'd imagine one guy would kind of be the metronome for everyone else. Yeah. No, I would see that as a reasonable thing that happened. Because I got to imagine that not every service member is a big fan of this dude.
I also one of my favorite parts was the guy whose drone's battery died.
So carrying it,
fucking holding it up. Yeah. I mean, you get it, right? It's in the air. Just imagine I'm not here.
My best friend drone.
I kind of wish he was doing like whooshing it around, like a little toy airplane. Yay!
Like he's trying to feed a kid in a high chair.
I wondered what that was about, because like I saw that these carrying. I'm like, why are you carrying it? Like, fly the son of it! What is happening here? That's funny.
The battery shorted out.
Died.
Damn it!
Yeah. Well, we're carrying her.
Yeah, no, that was funny, and then the little dogs too. But so we saw that an example of people not showing up, and it kind of like made it look ridiculous. But where people did show up was the place we were at. So we were in St. Paul, and so many people were there. I mean, we had bagpipes. Did that little
the bagpipes? Oh my god!
Did Trump's little birthday party have bagpipes? I don't think so.
Right.
So,
well, I think I'm with Zach. Like, I require bagpipes behind me now when I'm walking.
Yeah.
Like that is necessary.
I wanted to I was ready. I would have gone to war and gotten in a fist fight, or I would have debated someone into the ground. I was just so fucking amped. I was ready to just jump off the bridge and do a superhero landing onto a car and crush it like the Hulk. I was just ah. Dude, I was so hyped. It brought up the aura of the march 1,000,000%. It was obscene. It was so cool.
That was awesome.
It was, yeah. And then we had, just people. Well, the chants. I'm not a big chant guy to begin with, but I know that's not the whole
No.
reason why we were at the march for chants. But I mean, we heard a couple good ones like "Veto the Cheeto" was good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
it was
good one.
good.
Fuck
There
Donald
was
Trump,
just
and
there was a flat fuck Trump. That was always cool.
yeah, that was good. But overall, I think the energy was there. Everybody was ready, and I think with in light of the events that took place about 6 hours before the thing took place, like people still wanted to show up and represent Minnesota in a way that's like, hey, we're
Mhm.
not going to stand up for this guy. We're not going to stand for this guy, I should say. And like you said, Zach, earlier in the podcast, that they kind of trimmed up some of the speakers due to like safety concerns and things like that. And the Minnesota State Patrol or whatever posted saying, hey, we highly recommend that you guys don't go out today because the gunman is still at large. Everyone said, I don't give a fuck. This is important.
Yep.
And they
Yeah.
went out there.
Well, I
So
mean, yeah, and that was, I mean, that was in my head, and I feel like it sort of galvanized a lot of people. Like, I'm not going to let some fucking coward that showed up to us like a congressperson's house and tried to murder them or successfully murder them, and then ran away like a fucking asshole. Like, I'm not going to let that keep me from protesting. Fuck
yeah.
that guy.
Yeah. No, dude, it's a show up in the face of anything, and I think it's important. I mean, because what we're trying to do, not necessarily with this particular shooter, but I mean, what we saw going on in LA that we talked about,
Yeah,
deploying all National Guard, all this stuff is there to try and scare us off, or all of that is there, to try from the Trump administration to like scare us off, keep us out of the streets, keep us quiet, and we can't do it. So this is kind of a maybe a little bit more minor practice run, that people are still willing to risk physical harm to go do this. And that's not a small thing. I mean, we have to realize that, yeah, this time it was one freak. Next time it could be a ton of freaks. It could be the National Guard. And, like I think everyone out there had to realize that, like, look, this is, in LA they're just launching tear gas and shit into the crowd. And personally, I was ready to take tear gas in the face if that's what it meant for us to be
yeah.
there. And I think everyone else there was too, you know. I mean, I saw people ready to go with like goggles and helmets and some of this different stuff like that. They were really ready in case it shit really went sideways. Unfortunately, it did not. It stayed really nice, but no, I think it was a huge statement that we still got a ton of people that just said, I don't care. Like, let's go. Let's do this.
Yep, 100%. And speaking of 100%, what is the 3.5% rule? Because I was reading up on that and
Yeah.
right before the podcast. So I don't know if one of you guys already know and can explain it to me and the audience listening.
Yeah. So I have a link here from the BBC that did a story on it in 2019. And it discusses the research that was done. I forget the researcher's name. I guess the too long didn't read version of it is this person was doing a PhD in political science of some sort. Again, link is there. Please go read it. It's very cool. Very good
Mm-hmm.
article. But she studied, I think it was somewhere like 300 situations where a government was overthrown, right? Or a regime change happened. A regime change was overthrown. And they wanted to see where peaceful protests stacked up next to violent protest, right? They were very strict about what they defined as violent protests, right? So they filtered out a ton of stuff when they were building the data set, right? Um, there were even things that were considered largely peaceful that they took out because of violence that happened. A small thing happened. Excuse me. And so basically, what the 3.5% rule that they found is so peaceful protest in their data set overall was successful. I think it was like 53% of the time that it would cause a regime change I think within a year was like their line also. So it was like recent. So the 3.5% rule that they found is with this particular data set, and I think this rule stands, to this day, as far as I can find, is once 3.5% of a country's whole population became activated in a movement against a regime or in a movement for regime change, that regime was overthrown, right? That happened. So what that looks like here isn't necessarily that Trump is impeached and removed within the year. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. But what it could mean is that there is a wave in the midterms that basically is a rebuke against Trump, and it takes his power away because he doesn't have Congress anymore and he doesn't have state level governments anymore. But yeah, at 3.5%, 100% of the time so far, the regime change has happened. And so I've seen anywhere from nine. The number I have in the outline is 12 million, but I've seen 13 million nationwide. Domestically, there were overseas no kings protests in shit Paris, and I saw some in like Brazil, and there were a bunch in Mexico and Canada. I saw 13 million domestically, and about 11 to 12 million would be that 3.5% mark for the United States. Now, this does mean though, this one protest, this doesn't mean like, we're done, good, we got all together and we all chanted. This
Right.
means 3.5% engaged people, right? So this means these people have to vote. We all have to continue doing the work of spreading information, fighting misinformation, calling, emailing, holding senators and representatives accountable, blah, 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 all the things that we talk about all the time. Um,
Yeah.
but that's what it is. It was a super hopeful thing. The 3.5% rule has been talked about a ton. And so to dig into it a little bit and to see that we've kind of been hitting that mark that's huge to me.
Very
Because it
encouraging.
means
Yeah.
we might not step into this dictatorship that we're all concerned about. Um, it might mean we still get the remaining 3.5 years of Trump, but it means we're not getting years and years of Trump and then JD Vance and then Donald Trump Jr. and whatever.
Yeah.
We're not doing this for the next decade. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I found it very hopeful.
Yeah, that is encouraging. Like you guys said, it seems like such a small number too, compared like small percentage, I should say. But that's who showed up, right? That's need to be
Mm-hmm.
the loud minority, I guess. So, but it's a good statistic to use here.
Well, and it's good too to note that it like fully peaceful, right? Like we're not talking. We've talked before about how a lot of times violence does cause change, and it has, in the past. But it is good to know that if we get this many people engaged, we don't have to, proverbially fire a shot. We can just
Yeah.
keep doing all the normal stuff we should do anyway. Nobody has to get hurt. Nobody has to risk their life. We don't have to throw bricks through cop cars or anything like that. We can just show up and vote and knock doors and do whatever. And it's easier to keep people engaged that way, right? Because you don't want we saw a lot of older people, kids at the rally. You don't want them getting involved. Like I don't want someone to bring their 12-year-old kid to a rally and be like, "Hey, look, this is politics," and then they get fucking tear gassed.
Yeah.
So it's good that this means fully peaceful regime change.
Yeah. I don't want kid-sized riot gear.
No shit. That would be horrific to see. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, you know what else is horrific to see, according to Donald Trump, is the farming industry, the hotel industry, and the leisure industry, all suffering from his policies that include deportations. So,
Oh, you mean the
Mm.
thing that we all told him would happen if he did it?
yeah. I just want
Yeah,
to
the
put that
thing
out
we
there too.
called on January 20th.
Yeah, White Noise
Fuck.
Podcast said that probably right away, along with everyone else on the left. But for some reason, Donald Trump thought this was just an original thought that came to him. Like, oh shit, this is kind of getting in the way of other things that nobody wants to do. And the reason why people are doing it is because they want to get out of their country and they'll work for just about anything to do that. And that's something that we have taken for granted. And not to mention, especially his administration. So we can talk about that here for the last kind of 5 minutes.
It was an original thought, like groceries.
Yeah.
Or equalize, a word he thought of that nobody had thought of before. I mean,
Or
Eric invented a
infreeman.
new word. Yeah, Eric invented a new word in the last thing, and he didn't even brag enough about it. I think you should have talked that up a little bit more when you did it. He's thwack. Whatever the fuck that was, that noise.
that was, that
No,
was
dude,
something.
I think it's wild that like again everyone told him this was going to happen, or maybe nobody told him, but everyone was like, look, yeah, this is going to fuck everything. The construction, they're not talking about construction. I'm sure the construction industry got hit too. And I just think it's hilarious that like he's realizing, and his administration as a whole is realizing like, oh no, these people are actually good for like the economy and they're good for the country. Shit. Like we got to keep, But the problem too that I've read, not to like, we don't have to change gears too hard, but what I've been seeing is, so there's a link in here that he wants to still deport a ton of people specifically from democratic cities. I think this is a retaliation for these No Kings protests. Personally, that's my kind of tinfoil hat.
100%.
As he saw, yeah, LA showed out, Chicago showed out, Philadelphia, Minneapolis, St. Paul showed out. And he's going, well, fine, fuck you. Like, we're going to hit you extra hard. And I don't remember where it is. I don't think it's in the link that I have in the outline. That he wants to increase arrests from like a handful of 100 or whatever it is a day to 3,000 arrests a day. So they're narrowing the scope of who they're going to deport, but they want to deport significantly, like an order of magnitude more people. So that's going to probably just lead to more of what we've been seeing, which is like, you're brown, handcuffs. Now, like, I'm not going to ask you for ID. I'm not going to give a shit about your citizenship. We're going to arrest you now and ask questions later. And that
They're not even
sucks.
going to ask questions later. They're just going to get rid of you.
Well, yeah, put you on a plane. I mean, yeah, we saw that early on. They just threw him on a plane to El Salvador, and just courts told him no. And they're like, I don't know, plane's already in the air.
Yeah.
Can't possibly turn it around. I don't know.
Yeah, the rudder's too small.
Yeah, fucking Tom Homan. God damn it. Sloth with a mouth like a fucking blow up doll. That guy is the worst to like see and listen to.
Why is he so surprised?
Well, when you're that stupid, I think a lot surprises you.
There.
Yeah, it's like stepping on a rake every time. Yeah, that's insane. This whole administration is insane, and we saw this coming from a mile away. And now the retaliation aspect is because his ego was hurt a little bit. So,
yeah.
Well, it's the same as the tariffs, man. Shoot now, ask questions. This will be fine, and then everyone gets pissed and it hurts, and he goes, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah,
just pulling the taco move yet again.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, big fucking art of the deal, tough guy. I don't know if this is the art of the deal. Like, this cannot be that hard then. Like, so right. So next time I buy a car, I'm gonna walk in. I'm gonna say I won't pay that much for the car. This car is $100,000. I will pay $40,000. And they'll say you're a fucking idiot. I'll go, I will leave, and they go, okay. And then I leave, and I come back and I go, I will pay $80,000 for this car. And they go, no, it's $100,000. And I go, fine, I will leave. You're very mean. And they go, okay, goodbye, sir. And I come back and I go, I will pay $120,000 for this car. And they go, yeah, man, sign the papers. Let's go. Like, that's literally what he does every goddamn time.
It was on my terms how I got the car. Yeah. Dude, fuck that guy. Oh,
technically he's right. He just got the worst possible terms.
Yeah. But he'll defend that. He'll be like, I am the deal maker. So many deals.
I am the chosen one.
Make a deal.
All you got to do is overshoot the asking price. Then it's your deal.
That's what you got to do. They will give you a 15% interest rate. It's a good rate. It's good. I know rates. Rate. Nobody knows rates like me.
So many rates. I'm going to do it. All right. Well, this has been the podcast, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Sorry.
It was an abrupt ending, but we appreciate you hanging out. Feel free to email us at the whitest pod, right?
Nope. whitestnoisepod@gmail.com. Email us questions, concerns, suggestions, feet pics, washed or unwashed. We will take them all. And if you're on a service that can like, rate, subscribe, do any of those things, like, I don't know, do it, man. I know that we aren't always super smart, but if we provide any value to anyone, just please spread our cheeks. I mean, our message to your friends.
Spread your legs and fly.
There we go. All right. Thank you, everybody.
I want to end with Trump's parade was dubbed hashtag no crowds. That's funny to me.
That's good. Is that a play on no crowns?
Yes. No kings.
Oh. All right. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Zach got it.
Yeah, I'm locked in.
I'm not. All right, we'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Bye.